everyone, today's video is going to be on how to make a cube hammock for your rats, chinchillas, ferrets, or other small animal. And so, let's begin. So I'm doing this tutorial with a sewing machine. You can do it with hand sewing, but it will take much longer and much more tedious, and so I prefer to do it with a sewing machine. So what you're going to need is a sewing machine, some fabric scissors, 2 fabrics of your choice. I usually suggest the inside fabric being fleece. I'm just using a regular cotton solid blue for the inside and a teddy bear for the outside. And your measurements are whatever you want it to be, as long as it's a square. I'm using 6.5 inches by 6.5 inches. But you can make it smaller or bigger depending on your animal. You're also going to want to need a pencil. I'm just using a charcoal pencil because it's easier to wash out. And a circle of your choice. I'm using just a little random candle to make a circle. And another fabric for your loops. You could either use grommets or you could use other fabrics to hang your hammock on. So what you're going to want to need is fabric. You're going to need 6 squares of your inside fabric and 6 squares of your outside fabric. For your inside fabric, I suggest using a fleece just because it is softer, warmer, and makes the hammock more sturdier. And your measurements could be whatever you want it to be, as long as it's a square. I'm using 6.5 inches by 6.5 inches. I usually just cut it out in a cardboard type of thing so that I could just trace it on the fabric and cut it out. And you're also going to want to need something to hang it up with. I'm using fleece just because it doesn't fray. You can use grommets, but I don't know how to use that, so I'm using fleece instead. And so yeah, let's get started. So what I do first is I get my 2 fabrics. I put them good side facing each other. So the good side and the good side facing each other. And then I get my circular object. I'm using a candle. Place it right in the middle. And then get my pencil. And then trace a circle around. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew all around this. And I will show you that. Now what you're going to want to do is cut out this circle, going as close to the stitching as you can. You probably can't see the stitching, but I'm trying not to get the stitching because that would be bad. Because your whole project would be ruined. And now that you have your hole cut out, you're going to want to turn this inside out by holding one of the layers and then pulling the other one through. This can be very tricky, so don't get discouraged. And then there you have your hole. And what you can do is you could sew all the way around, but I'm not going to do that just because I'm lazy, but you can if you want to. So I am just going to do one hole. I decided not to do another one for the purpose of this video, just because it will make this video way too long, and I don't want that. So now that you have your hole, this is going to be your front panel. You're going to want to take your front fabric and put it good side facing outwards together. And I'm just doing this on my lap just because it's easier. And then what you're going to want to do with this is put the good side facing the good side on top. And then sew along here. And I will show you that. And for this I am using a zigzag stitch, which is number 4. I don't know if you can see that. But it is number 4, so I'm going to switch that to number 4. And so it's going to make a zigzag stitch so that the fabric doesn't fray in the wash. And yeah. And then there you go. Then you do this another time. And now that you have that done, you want to take another panel, put it on top, and then sew along there, which I'm going to flip this way so that I can sew easier. And I will show you that. And there's another panel. And now you're just going to want to add another panel right here. I don't know if you can see that. But there's your front, this is your side, and now you're going to do your back. So there's your panel right there. And you're going to want to put it right there. And then you're going to sew along there. And then, so you have your side panel, your front panel, your side panel, and your back panel. So now what you're going to do is have this like this. And then you're going to want to fold it all in half, like so, and then sew along here. So now you have kind of like a cube without the top or the bottom. And now what I'm going to do is put the bottom on. And how I'm going to do it is I'm going to put that face down. So taking this, you're going to want to put your good side facing the good side on the, so that it is good side and good side, and then you're going to want to sew along there. So now you should have something like this, and now you could just keep sewing on the sides like so. So now you should have something that kind of resembles a a cube hammock. So I sewed on the bottom, and it's just inside out, and now I have to put on the top. So the top is basically the same concept as the bottom, except you are putting in your hangers, whatever you're using to hang, or you could just use grommets. So you're going to want to put the good side inside, so it kind of looks like that. And then you're going to want to sew this right onto there. And so instead of sewing right now, you're going to put your the things that you're going to use to put your hangers on. So I'm using fleece. So I will be putting the fleece loop, as you can see it's a loop, downwards, and then sewing that, and then you're going to want to put both of them in, and then all you see is like these little tiny things, and then you're going to sew across there. And then you sew the back. The back doesn't have any hangers, so you don't have to worry about that. Just line it up and sew it. And then for this one, you're gonna take your hangers again and kind of just sneak them inside. It can be a little tricky, and then you sew there. So this is basically what it should look like after you're done sewing. You could have a hole right here and a hole in the back or wherever, and then you're going to want to flip it inside out through the hole. And there you go. That's what it should look like with your little hangers. Should look a little bit better than mine just because I was in a rush to show you. Yeah, there's your cube hammock. If you liked the video, please subscribe, please like, and please comment, and I will see you next time. Bye!